Hello, welcome to the new edition of Coastal Magic Concast podcast. Each edition is a compilation of the 5 daily features from my own book blog wrapped into one fantastic author chat. You're seeing the video of this conversation during our 2022 virtual convention, and the audio version will magically become a podcast sometime in the future. I'm happy to be getting to chat with one of Coastal Magic's recurring authors, somebody that we have with us every year and are happy to include. This is from Tawdra's official bio. Tawdra Kandle writes lots of romance. She loves unlikely pairings, strong women, sexy men, and hot love scenes. Tawdra lives in Central Florida with her husband, pup, and 2 mini cats. So that pretty much sums up Tawdra, in my opinion. Is there anything else that we need to know about you?
No, I had when I was listening to you read the bio, I was thinking because I had to tweak a little bit within the last year because I had 2 pups and we lost one just about a year ago. But I also said I said a favorite granddaughter. I think I used to say a perfect granddaughter, and now I have 2 perfect granddaughters. So I've had to make sure that those are tweaked along the way because, at some point in time, yeah.
Gotcha. So we need to update our Tawdra bio.
I know. So
we need to let Devin know that from now on, if we need to do updates, she needs to let us know about these things.
I know. I figure, eventually I may have more than 2 grandchildren. So I have to just start saying, I just leave them out because they all know that they're my favorites.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So we are not in Daytona. That is a bummer.
It is a bummer.
However, we are here and I still get to see your lovely face.
No, this is so much fun.
No, this is 10 times I've seen I've seen your face more than that. 10 times I've seen your lovely face.
I know. It's so funny when I get I have the time hop and I see things and I'll be like, way back when I'm talking about I'm going to this really cool thing in St. Augustine. So it's so much fun.
It always blows my mind when stuff comes up for Old City New Blood because I'm like, how was that even a thing and how did it become this?
We were younger and we were younger in something. I'm not sure what younger.
Very lucky is what we were. Very lucky.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for still hanging around and doing this thing with me every year.
No, I always say this is my home conference. This is the one that I go to every year, no matter what. And as I said to you, it just didn't occur to me that we wouldn't be back this year because this was the last thing I did in 2020 before the world closed down. And I was like, oh, great. And then we're not.
No,
yeah, so but it's okay. It's just gonna, as I tell everybody, it's gonna make it that much sweeter when we're all
right.
We're all.
I based on the people who seem to know these things, I feel pretty confident that we'll be okay for next year.
I do.
I thought that this year, obviously, or I wouldn't have done everything that I did to plan for us being there in person. But they seem to all be heading the same direction with us being okay for next year. So hopefully we'll all be sitting by the beach and this will be a distant memory.
Fingers crossed, everything crossed. Yeah. But
absolutely. But yay for the internet, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Can you imagine trying to get through these last few years without the internet? My goodness, no.
Yeah, we would all gone crazy.
Crazier.
Yes. All right. So here's how we're going to do this thing. I have stolen from myself. I took all of the features from my book blog and I'm going to mush them together and we're going to chat here about those things. So starting off, we have Monday, which is Words of Music Monday. So that's a chance to talk about music in general. You can do, if you have music that inspires you for writing in general, if you have character theme songs, book playlists, anything like that where music plays into your writing and all, this is a good place to talk about it. If it doesn't, then you can just tell me what you like to listen to in general. But I know you, and I know that music is involved in your writing. So what do you have to share about that?
Well, 2 things popped into my mind right away. One was that when I was writing my second big contemporary romance series, Love in a Small Town. The very first book, which ironically enough, and was a little confusing, was called The Last One. Okay, so the first book was called The Last One. The second book was called The First One. You know, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I was writing that book over it was about 8 years ago, over a very tumultuous summer in my family's life. We were moving. We didn't know where we were moving. It was craziness. And I had been working on it and went with two of my daughters to the Brad Paisley concert that we always used to go to pre-grandchildren. And I was right at a point in the book where everything was going fine. I was getting close to the end, but I heard the opening act was Charlie Worsham, and he sang a song called Trouble Is, and it just gave me chills down my spine. And I'm like, oh, this is this couple, because he was trying to keep from falling in love with her, and she just did everything that just was right for him. And
right.
It was just the perfect song. So that one, and then
love it when that happens.
I know it was so cool. And then Brad Paisley himself sang a song called Beat This Summer, which really became the theme song of that book, because it was about a summer romance. She was living on his farm, working there temporarily, not on the farm, but working as an art teacher. And so that became their summer theme was Beat This Summer. So whenever I hear either of those songs, I'm just taken back, and I remember Sam and Megan, and I think
love that.
Yeah. And then on the paranormal side, the song Age of Aquarius really went into the penultimate book in my paranormal series. It kind of was the everything was leading into one thing, and it was Age of Aquarius. We had a little time travel, we had some vampires, we had witches, we had a lot of different. So and Age of Aquarius, when I hear that, I listened to that song probably on repeat 5 years ago.
Wow.
Over and over again. So yeah. So
do you ever play yourself to where you just don't ever want to hear a song again?
No, not really.
Good.
Yeah. And I do have some. I have some that recur in different books. There's Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. That one has repeated in several books. That it's just so evocative that there's just certain ones that will, well,
that's cool. I know there are some authors I've talked to in other instances about the music and their writing, and they have a certain playlist that goes with a certain book, and then once they're done, and those songs belong to that book, and they don't really listen to them too much anymore. And I think I understand why that happens, but it makes me sad.
Yeah, I'm too much of a music junkie, and obvious, and I'm also an eclectic music appreciator as much as I am also an eclectic reader, that I can jump from just about any genre. So, it depends. And I keep all of my book playlists on my phone. And so I'll just ask my electronic assistant, whose name I shall not mention, so she doesn't say anything right now. And I'll say, play this playlist or whatever. And it's it usually brings back memories of the characters, but I also appreciate the music. But it's funny. I read a book, and I can't remember the author's name. I know her, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But she wrote a book based on Billy Joel's scenes from an Italian restaurant.
Okay.
And it was so cool, to read it and to I love that song.
Yeah. But
she told me afterwards that she could not listen to that song anymore because she had listened to it so much during the writing of it. And it was very cool. So.
And I can see how maybe if the songs are so much a part of the writing, then maybe if you're writing another book, you don't want to have those memories coming into this.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that takes care of Monday. So we're going to move to Tuesday, which is Top 10 Tuesday. And that's a chance to talk about 10 of anything you want. So it can be 10 things about you, 10 things about your books, 10 things that make you smile, 10 things you learned how to do last year, whatever you want. So what 10 things would you like to share?
I was torn between my top 10 Marvel characters, which, Marvel is
Nice.
a huge thing with me, or, and this is what I think I'll go with, the top 10 movies that I watch while I'm writing, because I'm one of those
Oh, there
weird
you go.
people. I'm better if I'm alone in the house, or even if I'm not, I'll usually have a movie going on if I'm writing, just because
Okay.
it just kind of centers me. It has to be something I've seen before, so
Right.
that I can just be kind of, listening to it.
Yeah.
So in no particular order, here are the top 10 rom-coms, because almost always rom-coms. If I'm not watching a Marvel movie, which often I am, because I will watch them over and over, then it would be Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
Love the lines in that. The Holiday, which I believe I
Okay.
watched about 25 times this past fall.
Goodness.
Wow, it's so good. So good. Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, because Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Garner, they're, just perfect. 13 Going on 30, again, Jennifer Garner, and the music and the 80s, and just love it. Just love it.
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About You, because Keith. Yeah. The American President. Oh my gosh. All the feels in that movie. That just, love that movie. While You Were Sleeping, because Sandra Bullock, and so good. And also because I think Bill Pullman gets a chance to be the leading man that he could always be, that he kind of was always the also ran, like he was kind of the also ran, but then he gets to be the leading man. You've Got Mail, because Brian and Tom Hanks, and New York is as much a character in that movie as the others. I love that. And sticking with the Meg Ryan theme, Sleepless in Seattle. Again, also Tom Hanks too. And my top one is When Harry Met Sally, because I am a huge Nora Ephron fan. And we did not realize until after my daughter had named, I guess we kind of knew it in the back of our head, but my granddaughters are named Delia and Nora, and Nora Ephron's sister Delia was her writing partner. So Delia and Nora too. Yeah. So
that's so sweet.
I know, isn't it? So there you go.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Now, did Devin know that? Did she do that on purpose?
No, she did not do that on purpose. No. Delia is actually named after my great aunt, and Nora is named after my aunt, and so they're both family names, but it just was serendipitous.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Cool. Really cool. If you have to be accidentally named after anyone, I suppose that's not a bad pair to be named after.
Cool. And I recommend, if you have not read any of Nora Ephron's books, she writes like short memoir pieces. They're hysterical. I read, I guess in January, I Hate My Neck and 10 and other things about me. And I just it was one of those books that I was reading at night and laughing so hard that my husband would be like, what are you reading that's making you laugh? So really good stuff.
That's fantastic. I love books like that.
So good.
Okay. So moving from Tuesday into Wednesday, we're doing WWW Wednesday, which is a chance to talk about something that you saw online that caught your attention, that made you go, that maybe made you laugh, or, surprised you or whatever. So what have you seen recently online that has stuck with you?
A friend sent me this adorable video of this little boy who his family, he was snowboarding. Maybe not for the first time. He was 4 years old, and they mic'd him.
Okay.
And his whole commentary as he's doing it. And it just was so absolutely adorable. He's going like, I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to fall. If I fall, it's okay. If I fall, it's okay. See, as he's going through it, it was
my gosh, that's fantastic.
It was so cute. Yes. And actually my sister then sent me day before yesterday, a redoing of the Titanic with a cat in the Kate Winslet role. It was so funny. It was
my Lord.
OwlKitty something. And it was just, they inserted this black cat that looked very much like my cat into the Kate Winslet part, like as Leo's dancing, spinning around, and the cat's face is like that.
Oh my gosh.
I highly recommend both of them. So
That's fantastic. Maybe we'll see if we can find the links, and we'll post the links under the video so people
I
can watch
believe that if DeLorean is anywhere in the area, she's probably already found the links, and she will have them. She is that good, you know. If not, I will make sure I get them.
Might be right. You might be right.
I will get them to you though.
Okay, cool. So we'll post those so everybody can watch.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Wednesday. Thursday is review day. So you are a writer, but you are also a reader. So I would love to hear what you have read recently, or maybe what's on your TBR that you would like to share.
Well, I have been delving back into already read books in the last little bit. I reread an old book called Celia Garth, which I absolutely love.
Interesting.
Historical fiction, Gwen Bristow, American Revolution, super good. And another one called My Enemy, the Queen by Victoria Holt, who was probably one of my big influences to become a romance author. That's also historical. That's about Elizabeth I. So I just finished those. And right now I'm reading a nonfiction called Carlisle versus Army. It's a football book about a game that took place, in 1912 between Carlisle Indian College, which was a college that had been founded by an Army captain to educate Native American children. A little controversial, there's a lot there, but they were playing Army, and we have West Point and connections in our family. Both my husband and my father are graduates, and playing on for the Carlisle Indian side was Jim Thorpe. Everybody, one of the greatest of all time.
Right.
And on the Army side was Ike Eisenhower. And so, so it's a whole book it's not, if you don't like football, it really doesn't matter, because it's really about the history of the Army and the Native American population, and just where we were in 1912 and why this was an important game. And that the coach for Carlisle Indian College was Pop Warner, who anybody knows anything about football knows that Pop Warner really shaped the game to how we know it today. So really, really, really interesting historical book. On my TBR, I have Melanie Harlow has a book coming out next month that I'm very excited about.
Okay.
And I think it's called Taste, pretty sure. And this is in her new series. So I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
So,
excellent. I love it. And you, unless I'm missing something, which I don't think I am, you've not written any historicals, right?
I have not. This is funny. I had somebody ask me the other day why I hadn't done that. And it just hasn't been, I try to stay in one wheelhouse.
Right.
I've talked about it. I have a friend who, she and her husband do a lot of Civil War reenactments. And they live in Texas, and I have a passion for the Civil War, but coming from a northern side. So we've talked about kind of writing from two different points of view.
That would be cool.
But we'll see someday maybe. But
Well, I am perfectly happy with what you have written. I just was surprised that you had been reading so much historical, not knowing you to have ever written any. So.
Well, you know what? It's also sometimes nice for me to read historical because I don't have any worry about it. It's not my, it's just my pure pleasure. I'm a history English major, so history has always been a passion, no matter what. So that's still, it's kind of, I don't have to feel like I'm working when I'm reading it. So.
Right. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Excellent. All right. So Friday chats are basically anything you want them to be. So we can talk about something that is interesting right now for you. We can talk about what books you've had come out, what you've got coming out later this year, appearances you have coming up, anything you want. So what is going on in Tawdra world right now?
Oh gosh. Right now, what's going on in our world is we have a very long epiphany this year. A lot of people know that my husband is a priest, and this really has nothing to do with that. This has to do with food because I love long epiphanies, because it means that I get to this is the time of year where we cook food from New Orleans specifically. New Orleans is kind of the home of my heart. It's the place where I was telling somebody the other day, it's where I feel my muchness. I have not lost my muchness when I'm in New Orleans.
Mhm.
And so this year I was really excited. We always have gumbo on Mardi Gras. And this year, though, because it's been a long Epiphany, we had chicken espagnole last week. We had jambalaya this week. We'll have mufaladas this next week, and then move into gumbos. We have king cake and beignets and
Mhm.
praline sundaes and all the good food. So
All the good stuff.
yeah, so I've been doing a lot of cooking, and that's been fun. That's been a
Well,
lot of
cool.
yeah, which
I
is
know you
something else.
enjoy that, so I'm glad you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I've been cooking a lot, and I don't know when I'm going to have another release. I'm kind of in a holding pattern right now. If I do, um, it's probably going to be in my West Point series.
Gotcha.
I've started on that one, and then I am also considering and possibly maybe before the end of the year we'll put out another book in the anti-Cinderella
And
world.
Cinderella. Mhm.
Yeah, we kind of left one character in the anti-Cinderella world. There's the three that are the three main books that are
Right.
the anti-Cinderella chronicles, but then I also have the anti-Cinderella world romances, which are related characters who have their own. 50 Frogs is in there,
Right.
the cuffing season, and there's another Christmas one that Hot Off the Presses.
Mhm.
um, so there is a side character who was kind of left dangling on a cliff at the end of the last anti-Cinderella book. And it would be Shelby's book called A Dozen Dreams. And
Nice.
so that's probably where I'll be heading next.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
And what about appearances? I know we can't be in Daytona. Do you have any other plans for appearances later this year?
Not this year. No. This year I haven't been traveling as much lately, just with,
Mhm.
life in the early 20s,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I am hoping to make a trip to New Orleans to meet a friend. But other than that, no, I don't have any author appearances. I did one last summer, in June in South Carolina, and we came to the decision that it was a little too soon.
Gotcha.
It felt a little too soon. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Alrighty.
we'll see. You just
So-
never know where I might pop up.
That's true. So where should people go if they want to find out what's happening with you? I know you've got social media, you've got your website. Where do people look to find information about you?
My website is tawdrakandle.com. And I always say that if you can't find me, just Google Tawdra, and the first 5 or 6 pages are probably me. When you start getting into the Native American people, because apparently my name means beautiful hair in an obscure Native American language, then you've gone too far, and you won't find it.
Interesting.
Yep. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like every now and again, Pinterest. I'm on TikTok. I'm not often there. I tend to lurk, and every now and again, put something up, but I'm still in the early stages, the investigation.
There you go.
So
The checking it out stages.
but I'm easy. I'm pretty easy to find. I have a podcast with Violet Howe called An Open Dialogue.
Nice.
Which, the next episode will be coming out next week.
Cool.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm around.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yes. And I'll be in Daytona next year. On the beach.
Yep. And I'll get to see your lovely face for the 11th time. I'm thinking that next year is just going to be our 10th anniversary plus one. I'm just going to add plus one to everything.
Yeah. It'll be I was going to say our 10th anniversary in person, but no, because we also in 2021 were,
Right.
So
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
those old TV shows where they're not that old maybe, but where they would decide that they wanted to change something. So they would just say, oh, it was all a dream. And they would come back.
Oh yeah.
So that's what next year we're just going to say, oh, it was all a dream. Everything's fine. It was all a dream. It was a dream sequence. So
that, yeah. But
Bobby,
that always makes people mad when they do that. It never goes well when it was all a dream.
Yeah, I guess not. But wasn't it Bobby? I never watched Dallas, but wasn't it Bobby Ewing stepped out of the shower or something? And after that whole, yeah.
I never watched the actual show, but I did watch that because everybody was talking about it. So I like caught a clip of it somewhere. Yeah. And there's been a couple of shows where the end of it has ended up being a dream of some sort. And I'm like, it just never seems to go well. I don't know why people keep doing that, because it just never seems to go well when that's the case.
It was handled in an old show very well once, called Saint Elsewhere. Did you ever watch Saint Elsewhere? And
I know of it, but I never watched it.
The very last episode was it you realize, I'm getting shivers thinking about it, that you realize that the whole drama, the whole stories of all the probably 6 or 7 seasons had taken place in the mind of an autistic boy, and he had a snow globe of St. Eligius Hospital, and his father, who in the show had been the chief administrator of the hospital, was actually just he was a construction worker, and they were just talking about, what do you think he thinks about, and it was all within that. So
wow,
it was an interesting way to end a show. Like Newhart, when they turn over and it's a dream. So
yeah, that was another one I was thinking of. Yeah.
I like that one too. Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah. Next year, that's what we'll say. Everybody will come. We'll just say, guess what? It's all.
If you think it would be fun, we could just call it a dream.
You're gonna say,
let people choose what they want to think.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy that you were able to make time to chat. I appreciate it, and I always love to see you and to talk with you.
Me too.
And that does it for us. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to post those links we talked about under the video. So if you want to watch the cute things that Tawdra got to see online, you'll be able to see those. And we'll put whatever other links for things that we talked about. We'll include all of those below, so you can hunt through and see everything. And that does it for us. So we will talk again soon, and I will see you in some of the panels that are happening.
Yes. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.